You've probably heard great minds think alike. Well, if you look back throughout history, some of the greatest minds had one thing in common. They kept journals. And it's my belief that this has sort of become a forgotten, underrated form of self-improvement that if you're doing in a digitized age, you're gonna be further ahead. And I wanna explain some of the hidden benefits I received through almost a decade plus of journaling. You wanna shift into the 2.0 you beyond coaching, beyond positive thinking, affirmations, exercise, like you name the technique. Journaling is the #1 tool I have used to transform my life. It feels good to be outside, get some fresh morning air. You can't see it, but there is a zoo literally across from me, and it smells like a zoo. And my second tripod for my B-Cam production for you guys may or may not be sitting inside a public park trash can. That idea actually came out of a journaling session. No, just kidding. Benefit #1. This one is the biggest benefit. You know how with exercise, if you don't have a diet, it doesn't matter how hard you exercise, you're probably not gonna get many results, if at all. They say you can't out-train a bad diet, right? You need both. You need the diet and the exercise. They go together and they complement each other. With you becoming the 2.0 version of you, your self-improvement journey, you need information. Videos like this, ideas, books, tools, resources, habits. Yes, that's good. But that's half of it. The other half is the implementation. And really, I think a lot of people are lacking here. Okay, this is where you go to coaching or maybe therapy, but you can also do this inside a journal. So your journal is to information and education what the diet is to the exercise. When you pair both together, your results go like that. Journaling is a great way where you can do a lot of the same things as coaching and therapy. Because people have a misunderstanding on what coaching and therapy is, in my opinion, in my experience, really. People assume that they're going to go to someone else and they're gonna tell them what to do, or they're gonna take away their problems, or they're gonna solve them for them. That is not it, okay? Because good coaches, good therapists literally can't tell you what to do. It's unethical because if it fails, they're gonna blame you. It has to be your own decision. Moreover, you're robbing someone of the experience of solving it and having the epiphany and having the insights that deepen and stick with them if you solve it for them. Just like helping a chick hatch out of an egg actually harms the chick in the long run because it needs the strength to fly later on. You have to metaphorically hatch yourself. And so where do you do that? Well, you can do it through meditation. That's a great form right there, observe your thoughts, but that's more passive. The active form is journaling, where man, you can observe your thoughts, but you're not just sitting there breathing, focusing on your thought. Like that can be really hard for people, I totally get it. Journaling is the active form. Journaling is where you go to coach yourself. Journaling is the diet to the exercise. Journaling is where you metaphorically hatch yourself. #2, I used to think mistakenly, you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. That sounds really good. And that's very true for a lot of things in life. When it comes to yourself, when you start journaling, what I noticed through 10 years doing this, how 99% of the time, I knew what to do. Literally, like if I had all the problems that I thought I didn't have the answers to, and I just sat and I really wrestled with it, and I broke through all the story layers and all the fears and all the limiting beliefs and all the BS, and I just sat with that problem and I journaled on it and I really went deep. 9 out of 10 times I would know exactly what to do. It's true for business. What do I do in my business? You know what to do, you're probably just avoiding it because it's hard or it has the most resistance paired with it and you're looking for a shortcut. What do I do with this relationship and this ex who doesn't want me back? You literally move on because you don't want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you, do you? Oh, I lost my job, I don't know what to do. You suck it up and you go get a new one. Like these are the solutions that are so simple. We're just too scared to open it up, go deep, and actually apply it. This is what I tell my metamorphic coaching clients. You need to stop looking for the answers and you need to start listening for them. Very powerful. Stop looking outside yourself for the magic pill, for the get rich quick, for the quick fix, for the instant injection for six-pack abs, and start listening for the answers deep down inside. And once you start listening, you start having love for yourself, compassion for yourself, you can start progressing. So that's what journaling helped me realize, is that 99% of the time when you have a problem, chances are you also have the answer. You're just too scared to look at it. #3, You know when you drive through your hometown, or maybe you put on a song you used to listen to a bunch in high school or middle school, and it takes you right back, doesn't it? It's like an intense feeling of nostalgia for yourself, and you feel connected to a former version of you. You might even feel love for that person. Wish you could talk to them, wish you could go back in time. What were they thinking? What were they feeling in that moment? Journaling literally is that. It's like having a conversation with your former self from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Now here's why it's different though. You know when you look back on old Instagram photos or photos where you're trying to be something, it's not the same experience as listening to that high school song, driving through your hometown, having love for your former self, is it? If you're anything like me, sometimes I look back on the stuff I used to post online or Instagram and I'm just like, it's a cringe feeling. It's almost a self-judgment, self-attack. Like you want to judge that former version of you. It's not a love for yourself. Versus when you have a different experience that's just for you personally, like the music, the driving through your hometown, the reminiscing, the journaling, you look back with the sense of love and connection and appreciation for that former version of you. They're two totally different things. For me, that has really deepened my understanding of myself. The things I couldn't process through even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year, I can now approach with a different worldview, more life experience, more knowledge, more compassion. You're able to really see a lot of lessons from those events. You'll look through a journal entry from 5 years ago and you'll be like, man, I can't believe that was a problem. I've grown so much since then. There was that breakup I thought I was never going to get over and the pain was so intense. And here I am on the other side of it. And moreover too, like with this point, yes, you have a sense of like love, compassion, nostalgia for yourself. But I also think that handwriting has a different, I'm gonna get a little woo here if that's okay with you, bit of a different energy than just seeing typing on a screen or words on a Pages document. I have documents from 10 years ago on my computer, and I don't ever go through and look at them and connect to that writing. It could have been from anyone. It's just ones and zeros, it's code. But your handwriting has sort of a uniqueness to it, a energy behind it, so to speak. Like if you get a card from your mom, from your dad, from your grandma, from your niece, from your nephew, you don't want to throw that card away because it's handwritten. And it's written with what? So much love. Well, how does handwriting have love? It's the intention, it's the energy behind it. And so I can't really explain this and verbalize it unless you've done it. But when you journal, that's what you get when you look back on former entries. You get a blast from the past nostalgia where you have compassion instead of cringe. And it has an energy weight to it that just typing it on a computer or phone or laptop doesn't have, in my opinion. So now you might be asking, okay, well, this journaling method, like if I were to do it, how do I get started with journaling? I will link at the end of this to a full like tutorial of how we do this, but just like a quick overview to answer that question, we came up with what I call the 6-in-1 journaling method. It's just that. You get a big journal. This is a sketchbook right here. This is one we send to our metamorphic clients, but you can get sketchbooks on Amazon. They're cheap, 10, 11 bucks. And you literally just choose 6 sections, 5, 6 sections that you're interested in. And you make each one 20, 30 pages or so. And now you have 6 sections in one journal. You swap this out every single year, regardless if it's full, regardless how much you've written in it. There's 2 other parts that are very important, the front and the back cover. The front cover, I put a lot of the big ideas. So these are like your best quotes, your best lessons. Put that on the right side. The left side of the front page is all about you. So like your name, maybe a phone number if it's lost. I like to put my strengths there. If you have personality types like Myers-Briggs, or if you're into that, it's pretty cool. You can put that there as well. Now the back cover, this has been the section I've used the most, I've grown the most from. It's actually where you create a manifesto. This is not on where you're going, it's who you're becoming. The way we track this, because that can be a little ethereal, hard to quantify. Like, how do I know I'm becoming someone? Well, you design it. And so what we do in the manifesto is we design and create the 2.0 you. And that's the tool we use to level up. And that is a section we do in my metamorphic program. That's the same thing I built on and evolved since going 30 grand in debt, my mom's basement, all the way now to really living my dream life and having everything checked off that I could have imagined from these journals 10 years ago. Teach you that exact process in our metamorphic program. No pressure. For those of you who are interested in that, you want to go deeper, you want some extra help, I'll link down below where you can talk to one of our coaches for free and see if we can genuinely help you. Again, no pressure. That's only for people who are like, yes, I need a little extra support. For those of you interested in deep diving into that method, I'll link at the end of this video a playlist that has all our journal deep dives you can jump into next. Benefit number 4. This one, I gotta be real with you. And I almost didn't include it because it's tempting to be like, well, that discredits the whole journaling thing. But I'll explain why it doesn't. Journaling for 10 years has made me realize how life gives you these same lessons over and 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 over again until you learn from them, integrate them, and grow from them. Now, here's what I mean. I will literally be writing in a session about a big business problem or a limiting belief or a stress or a problem. And then I'll go through, I do this habit once a year. I go through all my journals and I just look through fast, 30 minutes to an hour each one, boom, 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 and see like what were the patterns that year. And it's so funny because I'm literally struggling with something like a mindset issue or a business issue. And I see that exact same entry from like a year, 2, 3 years ago. The opposite is true. I'll have like in the front cover, I have all these quotes and beliefs and I'm like, oh, that was such a good idea. That was amazing, yes. And then I'll literally find that exact entry on that same book or that same quote 2 years ago where I thought it was awesome as well. And like Socrates says, a lot of learning is really remembering. So the times where you think you're like so inspired and this is amazing, probably is something you've heard before and that's why it resonates a bit more. Just like if you hear a pop song on the radio over and over and over and over again, the reason people like pop songs is not necessarily because they're good, it's the degree of exposure, it's the frequency of exposure. They just hear it so much, it becomes familiar. So now you might be tempted to say, well, see, Clark, then that means you didn't actually grow or you didn't actually learn. Not at all. In that way, you can see a lot of trends and patterns and use it as data on yourself. And now you can go even deeper into that and say, wow, there's still a lot of work to do. You can even be playful with the parts of you that maybe don't go away in 6 to 12 months because it took you 6 to 12 years to build a bad negative self-talk or a super self-critical or self-judgmental or take yourself too seriously. Like what makes you think that in 6 to 12 months, you can undo 6 to 12 years of habits? It's like growth is slow. I think that's the meta lesson I've learned through learning some of the same lessons over and over and over again is not to like judge yourself for it and be like, oh, I'm such a failure because I couldn't get over that inner critic in me. But it's to like really respect the slow growth process and that it's messy and it's not linear where it's, okay, I'm from here and then I'm here in a year's time and I never backtrack or go all over the place. So I don't always buy into the one and done approach when it comes to fixing yourself, your life, the parts of you that you want to change. Just because you get in shape once doesn't mean you never have to work out again. Just because you sign the contract and you get married doesn't mean you guys are never going to fight again, never going to have any issues, never going to get in an argument about whose hair's around the sink, about whose turn it is to let the dog out, about if you're using her skincare products because they're now half empty. Skin's been looking a little too nice, Clark. What's been your routine? Interesting, because I'm half empty. No, I swear. When you flip back through your journal, you will see how life keeps repeating the same lessons over and over to you until you choose to learn, grow, and accept them. Benefit number 5. I want to answer the question, well, Clark, journaling is very slow. Like your handwriting, and I don't like doing it because it's just slower than me typing or talking into my phone now, it transcribes it. Why would I journal instead of do those? The first thing I'll say is you're absolutely right. It is 10 times faster to type. It is 10 times faster to text or speak into your phone. But that's the point, is that slow is good. And that's the benefit that surprised me about journaling. When you physically write something, you're limited to the speed of your motor units. The speed at which you write is as fast as you can go. When you're just sitting thinking, your thoughts, you don't even think in complete sentences. They're just bouncing all over the place, aren't they? They're thinking really, really fast. You might even feel out of control. Isn't that what anxiety is? Speeding up, feeling like things are moving very fast, racing thoughts, overthinking. How can you overthink? There's no limit to the amount of thoughts you can think in a day. I mean, go for it, knock yourself out. What people are really saying when they say I'm overthinking, I'm thinking too fast. So when you think of things that help anxiety, overthinking, it's not to speed up. It's not to pursue things that are faster. It's not to speak into your phone because that's a more efficient way of journaling. It's to actually do the opposite. It's to slow down. It's to do things like meditation, to do things like analog journaling, to be more in the now. And what you find is that when you slow down, what naturally happens is your thinking slows down. So the benefit with journaling is that it forces you to go slower than you normally would. And that is actually a good thing, because that is a time and a moment you give to yourself to slow down, to process better, to think clearer. What do you think? Should we do more videos outside? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're still watching, that means you're interested in journaling. So I'll link right here a playlist that will walk you through the A to Z on how you can get started keeping a journal. And for those of you who want a little more extra help, one-on-one, you want some extra coaching, you want to create the 2.0 you, I'll link down below where you can talk to a member from our team for free, see if we can genuinely help you in our metamorphic program. Thanks so much. See you in the next one. Stop settling, start living. See ya.